So I thought I'd come to the BBC, the trusted BBC website, for an update on Felipe Massa's court case, because I think it's really important and that we get an authentic news broadcast about what's going on to keep us all informed. Now, all we've got is the bullshit that they came out with 4 days ago. So today is Sunday, the 2nd of November, and 4 days ago we get this article, which was the Wednesday, I believe, the Wednesday, whatever, 29th of October. The first day of the 3 day hearing to decide if this can go to trial or not, or whether the court's just going to say you have no pay. Now, if the court is authentic, and let's be clear, the whole legal process in the UK is just a tool for manipulation. Okay, so, but I don't want to get into that at this stage because I'll lose some people, but that is exactly what it is. We're looking at the media's presentation of it at the moment, all right? So that's the one account of the situation. There have been no updates, no update on the Thursday, no update on the Friday. We're now on the Sunday and there's still no further information. Now, isn't it strange that this particular situation relating to the integrity of the entire sport, the crux of the matter being that this sport covered up a fraud that took place within the sport. Okay, that was Crashgate 2008. Now, we know that Abu Dhabi 2021 was a fraud on a different level, okay, because this fraud of 2021 involved everybody, the entire show of Formula One, okay. This involved the Renault team defrauding everybody, right? Abu Dhabi 2021 involved the whole fucking shebang, all right? You've got Martin Brundle and David Croft lying before Massey supposedly made the error, okay? All throughout those last 5 laps where Nicholas Latifi was told, oh, it has to be this lap, and then he crashed. Suspicious. But then all throughout them 5 laps, what we're then shown on the television, this supposedly live action, is narrative. They're choosing to show us what they choose to show us. All right, they've got on screen, they've got the cameras that can demonstrate to the world exactly what is going on at turn 14 live, how long that clear up operation is taking, and therefore we can all gain an understanding ourselves of whether or not this race is likely to restart in accordance with the regulations of the sport. They didn't do that. What they did, they'd got Martin Brundle and David Croft throwing all sorts of projections. Could it be this? Could it be that? Will they let the lap runners through? I don't think it's mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day where they won't. And if they do, how long will they wait? And they kept repeating that on a cycle. Now, when they started introducing that was when they realised, oh no, Nicholas Latifi's brake has caught fire. We've had to put that out with a fire extinguisher. That's taking too long now. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to clear this up in time and get the race going. Martin, David, keep everybody guessing. Let's see what we can construct here. Well, I don't think it's mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day where they don't. And if they do, how long will they wait? And then we get on to lap 57. The lap cars still haven't been released. And the reason they haven't been released on lap 57, by the end of lap 56, which was the time that they had to be released on in order to be able to restart that race, was because as those cars came right round there at the end of lap 56, you still got marshals jumping over the barriers. The commentators don't tell you that. Okay, they divert your attention. The cars immediately then go on to lap 57, and the regulations are such that even if the lapped cars are released on lap 57, then the safety car returns to the pits at the end of the following lap, which means that final lap of the race, lap 58, has to be completed beyond the safety car. It's a safety car finish. Therefore, providing Lewis Hamilton keeps his car on the road, that is going to be Lewis Hamilton's championship. But we get onto lap 57, and you got Brundle saying, because I think the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, and there will be one racing lap. This is with the lap cars not released. This is with Lando Norris in 7th position at that point, tucked up behind Lewis Hamilton. At sixth position, Pierre Gasly had disappeared all the way off around the track and was now at the end of this safety car snake. You can't go racing like that. You've stopped a race effectively by having to deploy the safety car to deal with a safety incident, and that then has ruined the outcomes for everybody in that race. All the previously built up advantages have been wiped out between everybody, and everybody bunches up. But because of the nature of a safety car, if the leaders started lapping people, they have to wait behind the leader until everything's cleared up. And then you carry out this procedure prior to the resumption of racing, which is to restore sporting fairness to all competitors. And that is releasing those lapped cars, giving them the opportunity to make it around the track, to catch up with the back of the snake. And what that does, it resets the correct running order and wipes out all the advantages between all competitors. That sporting fairness to everybody, as determined by the FIA International Sporting Code, as they've carried out that procedure every time since it was reintroduced at the start of the 2012 season. 199 Grand Prix have been contested under those regulations. They'd not done it any other way. All the teams, all the drivers know that. The commentators know that, despite Brundle still gassing everybody up each time there's a safety car. Oh, safety car! What's going to happen now, kids? Oh, it's exciting! Oh, safety car! Because that's, again, all part of the marketing of the show. And no, that wasn't happening. Okay, that wasn't happening. They ignored the fact that Lando Norris here, in 7th position in the race, needing to be able to challenge for 6th position in that race, we think that the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, and there will be one racing lap. And then we get round a bit further round on lap 57, and they're coming down the straight towards kind of turn 9, and Brundle's going, indeed, is the safety car coming in this lap? We think it could do, should do. Is there any more debris on the track at turn 14? Hang on a minute, what are you doing? You're trying to disorientate people, Brundle. You say it's suggesting that you think the safety car's coming in, and then you're asking the question, is there still debris on the track? Well, the safety car's deployed to deal with safety issues. You're now throwing it out there that you think the safety car is going to be withdrawn, but you're not sure if the track is safe. What are you doing, Brundle? Again, you're disorientating people. You're doing it on purpose. And then all of a sudden, and it's ending. Wow! We're now going to see one lap. And immediately, we get F1 TV interject with a queued up message. Michael, Toto Wolff, queued up immediately to immediately filter that in. But what we're getting throughout that time is the Red Bull narrative. Okay, the message exchange between Max Verstappen and Jean-Pierre Lambiase. Cancel that. Lapped cars will not be allowed to be allowed through. Typical decision. I'm not surprised. It's classic. That one, yeah. That conversation that took 20 seconds in real time, that F1 TV edited down to about 12 seconds and then played it the world to make the world believe that Red Bull were being hard done by, creating the narrative. Yeah, that's what they did. We got interjection by F1 TV choosing, knowing that on lap 57 the regulations are that the lapped cars have to be released, and then the safety car returns to the pits at the end of the following lap. So we're now on lap 57. It has to be a safety car finish. And F1 TV, the creators of the narrative, play to the world. Christian to Michael. Why aren't we getting these lapped cars out of the way? Because Christian, I need to, whatever he says, yeah? We only need one racing lap. What does that do? Oh, that disorientates the viewer, doesn't it? Why are F1 TV, the media company that broadcast the show, that have been doing this for years? Therefore, if you're doing something, if you're involved in a sport, you know how things work, you know the rules and regulations of the sport, you know then how to construct the footage as something's unfolding, because you know that this is what's going to take place because this is how this sport works, okay? They chose that message to play to everybody. Why would you do that? You see, this wasn't just one mistake. This was an entire contrivance. This was an entire contrivance to set up the drama of the World Championship being decided on the last lap of the last Grand Prix of the season, just for drama, just to make them billions, okay? To enhance the appeal of the show, to excite the kiddies, all right? Now, BBC Sport couldn't identify that. Andrew Benson of the BBC couldn't identify that. And this is exactly what we're dealing with this shit show that is Formula One. This is the formula, everybody. We're in control of the media. We get the opportunity to tell everybody what to believe and divert your attention to what we want to divert it to. And nobody can challenge it, because anybody that protests about it, well, all they get to do is they get to stand on their little soapbox and try and shout about it to any passers-by, and people aren't interested. They've moved on already. Nobody can see that there's an injustice here. Nobody thinks that they can do anything about it, and the corrupt billionaires continue to commit crimes, continue to perpetrate injustice, and there is no justice in that regard, is there? So this is the mainstream media. This is how it's put across to us. And then when you try to expose to people what the reality of the situation is, the dynamics of that are such that we're all encouraged to tell everybody what we think in the comments section. And the comments section gets flooded with trolls because the mystery formula, the algorithm, seems to recommend this sort of content to wankers. Or bots who are here to purposely discredit the information that's being given out. But that's, again, something that we have to contend with, and something that, as a population, we're going to have to wake more people up to this dynamic and just show this is what we are actually dealing with in this world. But where I was going with this from the outset was that back when Christian Horner was dealing with this situation, and it was being reported, Christian Horner, accuser, lodges official complaint with FIA about his behaviour. So that was on the 16th of March 2024. All right. And then as you go down this one, we've got time to draw a line under the controversy. 7th of March 2024, Christian Horner. Red Bull had suspended the woman. So we've got that one there, 7th of March 2024. Andrew's got a lot to say about this, hasn't he? He's got when Andrew wants to divert your attention, there were loads there. We can go back through my channel and I can show you that what they were doing is they were doing the same article day after day after day after day and copy and pasting this as the latest update in the Christian Horner scandal. Okay, they're quite happy to divert your attention when they want you to be focusing on that. Yeah, quite happy for that. Yeah, look at what's going on, the shenanigans over at Red Bull with Christian Horner. Oh, but Red Bull have got their lawyer. Red Bull have employed a barrister to find Christian Horner not guilty. Yes, the legal profession. Thank you for that. But what they won't do now is identify the corruption within Formula One, will you, Andrew? You see, oh, no, your job, Andrew, is to not expose this to people. Andrew's job is not to cast the shadow over the corruption of Formula One, this corrupt entity that perpetrated a fraud. Okay, and back again, the Abu Dhabi fraud was an entire contrivance of the entire show. Like I say, all them teams, they remained silent, even though Ferrari in third, they were blocked off from challenging for second in that race. McLaren, Lando Norris for them, well, he was left a lap behind Gasly on that restart. They know you're not allowed to restart like that. Mercedes lost out not only with Hamilton, and they lost out to Bottas because his car was overtaken by the two AlphaTauris. Oh, the Red Bull B team benefited from that fraud as well. Aston Martin lost out, Lance Stroll. Yeah, man, what the fuck? Yeah, shh, quiet about that, Lance. I'll tell you later. Shh, don't tell the world what's going on. Shh. They were all silent. And why were they silent? Oh, because they're all making money out of it. They all know that, oh, if we grow the show, we'll get a greater cut of the advertising revenue, and we can all charge anybody that wants to sponsor us more money because there's more eyes on the brand, so the marketing space becomes more valuable. This is a benefit to us to grow and enhance the audience. And it doesn't matter how we do it. We can do this fraudulently, but we make money out of it. But that's not what Andrew Benson's allowed to tell you. Okay, Andrew Benson from the Mind Conditioning Machine is not allowed to expose it that way. That's just his job. Okay, and people do dirty things for money. This is what it is. It's all about personal integrity as to how you're willing to conduct yourself in this world. So that was 2021. 2008, Renault cheated. Okay, to all intents and purposes, all we can go on is the information that's available to us from what's reported in the media. So whilst I'll do my best to inform you in the best way I can, I'm reliant upon second-hand information that's being reported to us. So we always need to understand that we're trusting the integrity of so-called journalists. But what is reported is that Flavio Briatore and some of those people at the Renault team concocted this idea to crash one of their cars, and they ran a strategy that would benefit Fernando Alonso and give Fernando Alonso the opportunity to win that race. All right, clearly cheating, clearly an attempt to rig a sporting event through cheating. Okay, sport manipulation, sport kind of fixing of that manner constitutes a fraud in sport. Okay, that is what it is. You can go and look at definitions. That is what it is. Obviously, the lawyers will argue for 3 years about a definition, but it clearly is. All right, it's called fraud. It's cheating. It is fraud. Now, we can all talk straight, or we can all try to be fuck off lawyers. All right, but the reality of the situation is, because when we're not all fucking trying to carve up 3 million each for ourselves over a 3-year argument, it's just fucking cheating. All right, it's corrupt and it's trying to deceive everybody. It's fraud. That's what it is. Right, so they perpetrated a fraud. It appeared immediately, in terms of nobody was able to detect it immediately, it seemed. There's rumours that Jean Todt at Ferrari was suspicious and spoke about it. Felipe Massa not believing that. Okay, but it then is being reported that Bernie Ecclestone disclosed in 2023 in an interview to the Bild newspaper in Germany, I believe, that he and the head of the FIA, head of the governing body of the sport, the regulators of the sport, were made aware in Brazil that year, Brazil 2008, the final race of the season, that crash had been done on purpose. And what did they do? Well, they had an obligation to deal with that matter appropriately, and the appropriate manner of dealing with that matter is by disqualifying the driver who benefited from the cheat, and to disqualify the team who cheated and expel them from that year's championship. They didn't do that. What they did, they sought to make that issue go away. They sought to keep it a secret. They sought to cover it up. And there's a reason that they sought to cover it up. They did not want the scandal to cause a problem to their sport. Now, that's not what a governing body should be there to do. They should be there to uphold the rules and regulations of that sport and deal with anybody that tries to be corrupt within their sport. That is what a governing body should do. And if they don't do that, they are not fit for purpose. They are corrupt. So what we have here is Bernie Ecclestone, who is reported to be like the owner of Formula One. But at that stage, actually, he'd already sold his controlling share in Formula One marketing to an organisation called CVC Capital Partners. He sold that in 2005, but he then remained in charge as CEO. I'll do another video about CVC Capital Partners, okay? But Ecclestone there is trying to protect the image of Formula One for the financial interests of Formula One. So he's perpetrating a fraud, covering up a fraud, all right, covering up criminality to protect the financial interests of both himself and an investment firm. That is criminal behaviour. That is what Bernie Ecclestone is guilty of. Bernie Ecclestone is guilty of criminal behaviour, of covering up a criminal contrivance to protect the financial interests of himself and of a capital investment organisation. And the FIA acted to enable him. It only came out in 2009 when PK Jr. revealed it. But that was being covered up in 2008 when they did not act accordingly. They did not act appropriately. Now, of course, now 95-year-old billionaire Bernie will forget that he ever said that. Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah, is that your excuse, is it, Bernie? Yes, I don't remember saying that I knew about it at the Brazilian Grand Prix of 2008. Oh, so that's okay then. We'll let you off then, Bernie. No, you're a corrupt criminal. And on from this corrupt criminality, a scandal which could have easily rocked the sport to its knees, could have destroyed the sport. Okay, it would have been rebuilt, but it would have been rebuilt under somebody else's ownership. Essentially, somebody else would have had to take over because of the corruption would have been exposed. So somebody else would have dealt with the show. All right, not Bernie. Not CVC Capital, who really are not a fit and proper owner if they can't hold their own business to conduct itself within the law. If you're corrupting yourself, if you're conducting your business in a corrupt manner, you should face criminal consequences for it. Oh, we're just investors. No, you're responsible. You're responsible for holding everybody to account. And if you're not doing so, and the actions of the CEO and the people running the business are fraudulent and corrupt and they bankrupt the business, then you're not doing your job as shareholders by keeping them in check. And therefore, if they bankrupt the business and you lose out, unlucky. But it doesn't seem to work like that. Oh, we've always got to protect the financial interests, haven't we? Yes, we've all got to protect the interest of those with the money. Even if it means lying to everybody that's just consuming, that hasn't got the money. Yes. Is that the tool of the manipulation of law? Is that who it's there to benefit and protect? Yes. Don't you worry, little head. It's presented to us as being the system for justice, apparently, but it's not. It's just a tool of manipulation to gaslight us to believe it to be that way. We're gaslighted to believe that we're all expected to be law-abiding citizens, but none of us understand the law. That's too complex for everybody. Don't worry, you little head. You need legal advice to be able to understand the law, because a judge could decide it to be this way, or a judge could decide it to be that way, depending on who they want to manipulate the outcome for and whose interests it's for. But don't you worry about that either. So, on from trying to cover up this scandal, all right, and then when this scandal is reported the way it's reported, and yes, we get Crashgate, we get cheating. No media has revealed the true implications of it. No media has said, okay, you've got the what we've had reignited since Abu Dhabi 2021 is to try to cast doubt on Lewis Hamilton's accomplishment, right, of being the champion of 2008 by suggesting that actually Massa has been robbed of that accomplishment, and that's not the truth of the situation. The truth of the situation is Ferrari messed up during that situation, and Massa didn't get any points. Okay, that could have been an organic safety car situation because of any reason whatsoever. And the FIA at the time of the Singapore Grand Prix just dealt with that situation in accordance with the protocols that it has to deal with such a safety incident. All the teams then responded accordingly. The FIA didn't break their own rules to set it up for somebody else to win it, unlike Abu Dhabi 2021. All right, the entire fucking fraud. But back then, the FIA dealt with what they were seeing on track in accordance with how they had to deal with it. Ferrari responded to that, just like the other teams responded to that by pitting their driver, and they messed up. You can't then go back and go, oh, because of that incident, that's why we now lost points in that race. Well, no, you lost points because of Ferrari messing up. Because had Ferrari not have messed up, you'd have gone back out onto that track. You'd have still been in a race with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg and Fernando Alonso also, right? And you'd have still been in with a chance of winning that race. And you still might have won that race. But you didn't because Ferrari messed up. Okay, and that's your problem. That's the crux of that matter. But no media has actually put it across that way. Okay, no media has actually said that Bernie Ecclestone and the FIA have sought to cover this up so not to harm the marketability of their show. Okay, this show that Bernie the billionaire values at $1 billion. Okay, that is now owned by an investment company. That when we get through to 2017, the investment company, what does it sell it for then? $4 billion. That then moves it on to Liberty Media for $4 billion. So we can perpetrate a fraud, we can cover it up, we can make sure that the media doesn't report the truth of the situation to everybody. And over time, that £1 billion asset grows to be a £4 billion asset, and the investment company makes some money out of it. Oh, they've done all right. They've all paid themselves handsomely. They've all bought themselves a new yacht to park outside their house in the Monaco harbour. They're doing rather well, aren't they, in that tax haven of Luxembourg where this investment company's set up. Yes, we're all doing all right out of this. Now Liberty Media, the media company himself, they can control the mind conditioning of everybody themselves this time. Now we've moved it onto them, and they can continue to grow it through how they want to manipulate it. That's fine. We've taken our cut. So through fraudulent activity, you've got an illegal financial gain. Okay, that's a gain from the proceeds of crime, is it not? That's a £3 billion gain, $3 billion, £3 billion gain from the proceeds of crime, covering up a crime, and then your asset, rather than actually plummeting to zero, ultimately grows to be worth supposedly $4 billion, £4 billion, whatever it was. Which media is talking about that? They're not, are they? Which of your journalists have got the capacity to even think about it like that? Strange, isn't it? Strange. We're not getting told the story. We're not getting told that, okay, what should have happened there is Fernando Alonso should have been disqualified from that race and lost the 10 points that he was given. You take away 10 points from his finishing position in that year's championship, that drops him 2 positions in that championship. That elevates 2 of those drivers, Heifeld and Kovalainen, to higher positions in that championship. That impacted those drivers. That may have impacted those drivers financially. You know, Massa didn't suffer any financial loss. We're being presented by this fraudulent fucking lawyer that Massa somehow suffered financially from this, and his future financial earnings due to not being the world champion, his future financial ability to have better sponsorship deals, his future contracts, and this all total 60 odd million. No, that didn't happen because he never would have been the world champion because Ferrari messed up. Who actually really did suffer that was Heifeld and Kovalainen, who got a lower position than they should have got. Had the FIA and Ecclestone acted accordingly, but they covered it up. So that harmed those 2 drivers. Who else was harmed? Well, each of the teams that finished below Renault in that championship all would have got lower prize money from the FIA for that finishing position in their championship. All of those teams' employees are likely to be on packages whereby They'd have got an annual bonus, because this is how it works now. We're told that everybody that works in a Formula One team is likely to have an annual bonus, and that will depend on where they finish in the championship, how much money their team gets from finishing where they finish in the championship, and that then determines their annual bonus. And we're told that that can be a significant amount of money, you know, enabling them to go on a really good holiday or buy a brand new kitchen for their house or what. This is what we were told a couple of years ago, right? So that you'd expect that dynamic to be in place back then. 6 teams, and let's say there's 1,000 employees per team, employed on that basis, that you get a bonus based on where we finish in the championship and how much prize money we get. If each of those teams was deprived of £10 million, $10 million through their finishing position not being correct because the FIA refused to do the right thing, refused to actually disqualify Renault because they wanted to protect their billions. They wanted to protect Bernie's billions. They wanted to protect the billions of this investment company in Luxembourg, right? This is the people who have lost out. This is the employees, the people on 20, 30 grand a year, the real people that are getting fucked over by this corporate criminality that is then disguised by the media. Where in media are you hearing this? Who is presenting it that way? Andrew, you know, this is Formula One's latest. This is the BBC, the British Broadcasting Mind Conditioning Machine. Are they telling you about this like this? They're not, are they? They're not. Just like they didn't tell you this about Abu Dhabi 2021. Just like they couldn't identify that Carlos Sainz in 3rd position was blocked off from challenging for those top 2 positions. Yes, just like that. Just like they couldn't report on the stewards' appeal. And the fact that Mercedes were just simply saying to the stewards, we're protesting the result of this race because the race director didn't apply the regulations as he should. And rather than just compare what took place with what the regulations are and then go, yeah, you're right, he didn't, and therefore we that we can't allow this to stand, they said, oh, we'll invite Red Bull in to ask for what Red Bull's opinion is on this. That's not how you deal with an appeal. When the decision of the race director relative to the regulations is being appealed, you don't ask Red Bull in for their opinion on the matter. Okay, that's not how it works. But the world doesn't understand that because people are thick in the most part and they're not educated correctly. I mean, the media does have a responsibility to inform people. They set themselves up as a platform to inform people. But they don't do it authentically. They don't give people the correct information, and all they do is give people narrative. The narrative, a controlled narrative, which serves the agenda of those with wealth. Because those with wealth have the controlling influence. They then control the agenda of what information is fed to us to condition us to believe what we're led to believe, and to actually divert our attention to what they want our attention to be diverted to. So they're happy to divert our attention every day to what was going on with Christian Horner and this woman that he was sexting. What's going on there, everybody? Oh, it's legal. Oh, there's a barrister involved. Red Bull have got a barrister to clear Christian of sexual misconduct here. But they don't want to talk about corruption. They don't want to talk about that in the right way. Days and days and days of this shit. But we don't know what's going on here. We don't know what's going on here. And this is just the mind conditioning. And like with Abu Dhabi 2021, so many other people in this particular field don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay, you can look at other YouTubers' accounts of this, and they ain't got a clue. And I'll go through a few of them. Okay, they have not got a clue, and the reason is they don't know how to think. They don't know how to drill down to the fundamental issues that are actually underlying this. Because again, we are diverted. Our attention is being diverted. Oh, is Massa going to be awarded the money? What's this going to mean in terms of, is he going to be given the title? Is Lewis going to still be a joint title holder? Is Lewis going to lose one? Or are they asking for Lewis to be lost? Focus on what the real implications of this is. Focus on what was really going on, the criminal activity. What underpinned that criminal activity? What is the motive behind them doing what they did? That is a crime. Who's identifying that that is a crime? Oh, we've got financial interests. These investment companies that are worth billions. What else do they have investments in? Oh, they have investments in the media, and they then control what the media reports to the people. And the media is not going to report to the people the things that are going to incriminate those that ultimately own that media. And this is the world we live in. We get fed a narrative, we get fed lies to make us think about things in a way that they want us to believe they are. So I know that there's repetition in what I say, but I have to, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to see things how they truly are. And there's so many different aspects of this. Okay? There's so many different aspects, and we're all learning. I'm still will be missing some of this. As each day goes by, you can look at something and go, oh shit, and that's also happening here, and that's also happening here. And there is a lot that's happening here that I'm not even saying yet, and it will come out. Give it another few days and I'll explain to you exactly where this is going. All right, so stay tuned, because this is something's happening here. All right, I need to put it all together to actually disclose it all, but something big is happening here, and it's going to relate to Abu Dhabi 2021. Thank you for your time. Please stay tuned. Cheers.